Hello, hello. This is Gary Snow, and I'm doing a surprise live stream today because I have a game that is currently kickstarting called FÄNGELSEHÅLA, which is the Swedish word for dungeon. And I just thought I'd pop on here. Normally, I don't like to use this platform to promote myself. I usually like to have other game designers come on and pitch their games, and other creatives come on and talk about the designs that they're trying to execute and that they're sharing their knowledge with us. But today, I am going to be talking about FÄNGELSEHÅLA, which, if you have not seen, is a little tiny Kickstarter that I've been working on for. It's been a bit of a journey, I guess. It's been about 3 years since I had, maybe 4 years since I had the original concept, and I've been just kind of noodling away on it, and a lot of things kind of ended up clicking here in time for Zine Quest. So I got super excited by that, and I said, "Hey, why don't we make it happen?" Everybody else was doing Zine Quest stuff. I got uber excited, and here we are. So, anyways, the idea behind it is that this is a simple, super simple, minimalist game design that you can get up and running within minutes, and it's like perfect for one shots, or especially for people that are new to tabletop role-playing games. So I'm just going to maybe talk through some of the design process that I went through in making the game, and feel free to hop on, ask questions. I'm trying live on Instagram for the very first time, so if you have questions, I'll hopefully see them. It's all new to me, so maybe I'll see them, maybe I won't. So FÄNGELSEHÅLA is a little game here. You can see there's a little intro video here that talks about all the different party adventurers that you can choose from, make a dungeon on the fly through D66 tables, and away you go. We've now, as of today, we've unlocked all the stretch goals. So we'll talk a little bit about those stretch goals, but we've unlocked them all. And this is, a relatively small project. So I do appreciate all the support that I've gotten for it. We've also announced today the end of campaign thank you sticker for physical backers, and you can see the little digital mock-up of how that would work. I don't know if people would ever put it on their laptops, but I suppose you could, that if you wanted to. So let's just talk about the easy character creation. The idea behind it is there's, I guess, different classes, so to speak, choices. You can be an elf, a dwarf, a warrior, a gnome, and a magic user, a wizard. We've also unlocked, through the stretch goals, we've unlocked that you can also become something more monstrous. So now we're going to maybe have a bit of a poll for the backers to decide which monsters we want. But, monsters are the heroes of their own story. So when you watch a movie, monsters, they're the heroes in their own mind. And we're going to bring that into the game. So not always fighting monsters, but hey, you can be a bit of a monstrous character yourself. So going back to here, you can choose one of those archetypes. And the rules are super easy to learn. They're kind of an offshoot of the stuff that I've been doing for the Bug Busters game. And I thought they are so simple, and I've had a lot of comments to that effect, that it's a really good first system for role-playing games. So in this system, you have 4 attributes: will, tinker, agile, and tough. Will being kind of that cool factor for spellcasters. That's how they use that ability for casting spells. Tinker sounds like what it is. It's handy. You can manipulate things, and you can fix things, traps in particular. Agile, which is obviously shooting bows and those kind of like dexterity kind of actions, as well as balancing, climbing, that kind of thing. And then tough, as it sounds, that's lifting, using clubs, that kind of thing. So you've got your 4 attributes. They range from 2 to 4 depending upon your archetype. From there, you also get bonuses and specialties based upon your character and choices that you make in the character creation process, and maybe some lineage or that kind of thing that tells a bit of your backstory. And the action dice, when rolled, it's the 2 top action dice, And the bell curve actually kind of works fun for this. And when I kind of stumbled across it, I went, yeah, it does work. Adding an extra dice doesn't actually sometimes add too much as a bonus. And it's easier than adding like +1 and +2 and +3 that you might see in some of the other D6 games. So just adding that extra dice just shifts that bell curve just that little bit. And then you just choose the top two. Now, as part of the stretch goals, we actually have an online dice roller so that if you're playing with friends, it's part of the fun is actually rolling the dice and seeing everybody's rolls. And the fun part of it is that you can also fix a bad roll by adding a luck dice. Each game you start with 6 luck dice. And if you, in this case, in the first example of 10, if you went, I needed an 11, I only got 10, you could roll one of your luck dice, hoping to get a 5 to bump you up to 11 or a 6 to bump you up to 12. So that's kind of how it works. It's like the luck or a fail safe of after you've already failed. Whereas the next part of it is Doom dice, which we'll get to in a second. So the difficulty scale, this is kind of based upon the Ghostbusters D6 system by Sandy Peterson. And I've had Sandy on my show before, great person, and like just so instrumental. I think he's so underrated. Like he's not underrated, but he's so underrated for what he's done for games like Call of Cthulhu, Ghostbusters, which then spawned into the whole D6 system with Star Wars. He's just, a fabulous guy. I think he deserves even more credit than he already gets. But so Sandy, if you're watching, thank you for all the work that you've done. I've sent him a little note saying that I do appreciate this. And hey, here's a game that's based upon your system. And when you roll the dice, if you do tie, that's a jinx. So we've had some actual plays with the Buckbusters. You can see if you jinx, that's a problem that rises in the situation. That could be if you're using a club and you hit like a pillar, all of a sudden the roof starts to cave, and then you might have to start making some saving throws to avoid that. So that's what a jinx is. It's a situation that gets complicated based upon your actions. And then, as I already mentioned, the luck dice afterwards. So you failed, you have 6 luck dice for the adventure, and you can throw one in, and if that one fails, you can throw another one in, and you can burn through all 6 of your luck dice right away. But most people don't because they realize that's not probably a good bet to do. And then the difficulty scale, once again, it's on 1 to 12. The original Ghostbusters, as much as I love it, and Star Wars D6, as much as I love it, the thing that I didn't like was counting all the dots. And so for me, adding this on a scale of 12 just kind of simplifies things, where it's just the top 2 dice, scale of 12. The resolution is like really easy to see. So it's kind of just apparent. And between the luck dice and that, it's kind of a fun thing to do mechanically. And then probably the more innovative part of the game is the Doom stack, which I'll bring up here on the screen. So the Doom stack came to me where, in Ghostbusters, they have a thing called brownie points, and that's kind of your hit points. And so I tied the brownie points into dice. So the dice are actual physical representations of your Doom. Or brownie points in this case. But it's almost like a negative consequence where when you get Doom, you start stacking your dice. And once you get to a certain point, and it's very tactile, where you can put it onto your table and you stack it and stack it. I think I've gotten to maybe 11 is my highest, but it gets pretty dicey, pardon the pun, that you can get it higher than that. Although my daughter's got it up to 20. So there is that, I guess, possibility. So the Doom stack happens when you receive damage. And the damage is the difference between your action roll. So if you got 10 and the difficulty of the monster was 12, that's 2 points of Doom to you. And that goes up on your Doom stack. As well, there are saving throws based upon your attributes. And then you just roll 1 dice for saving throw. And if you get under that score of your attribute, you're good. If it's above that score, that's not good, and that goes on your Doom stack. So it's all kind of intertwined between your attributes, the Doom stack, and the dice. It's all what I hope is very synchronized. I try to make it like a clock, as best as I could, where everything kind of just fits the right way. And I think that's the goal of most game designers, is you want something that just kind of nicely fits together. And so there's basically those three premises. The dice act as tactile pieces to your character, as well as the tracking. So everything's kind of done by tracking dice, and all the saving throws and all the action rolls are all done through dice. And the character sheets are like so simple, and I kind of wanted to do it so it's just a really easy system to learn for new players, and they can just get in and start playing. Once again, easy game prep, that's the goal. So there's going to be D6 tables, and you start the adventure, and the rooms are populated based upon that. The GM is called the Doomsayer. I couldn't resist to call it that since we're dealing with Doom. So the Doomsayer basically walks us through. Now, in theory, you could actually probably get away without having a Doomsayer, but I'm kind of one of those people that I actually really value what a GM brings to the table. And you, in theory, could probably do it without a Doomsayer, but I think the interplay between a GM and that is like really special. And that's part of what makes role playing so good. I know there's lots of people that get down on DMs at Railroad and that kind of thing, but to me, the DM is always just there to assist and have fun, and they're a cheerleader for the players, but they aren't cheating for the players. They're there to help support the gameplay, and the system, the way it's set up, it's almost impossible to Railroad. You're there to just help facilitate the fun. So for me, Doomsayers, you are my heroes, and I appreciate you doing everything that you do as a GM. And what are you getting? So as I mentioned, we already had some stretch goals that we've achieved, and everything's unlocked. So we started with, at one point, it was 32 pages. I wasn't sure if people would like this or not, so I kind of kept it purposely small. And the page count was at 32, and then over time it went to 36, and then now it's at 40. And then we had like an inside color, and now it's all full color. So what you're seeing is the 8.5 by 5.5 landscape, which I know, some people find annoying on their bookshelves, but I think it really fits with the game style. And I think I saw one question about how the Doom stack works. So I hope I answered that. And somebody also asked about Doom 6, which I know, this is in the spirit of role-playing games that a lot of people, share out their systems. And, just like Sandy started the D6 system, I'm no different. I built my game based upon the amazing talents of other people, and I'm also happy to share that. So I want to be able to kind of prepare it so that people are able to use it in a good way. So stay tuned. I'm going to do my best to set that up so that people are being able to get the tools they need to use a system similar to this. I've kind of nicknamed it the Doom 6 just because of the tie-in for the D6 and the Doom stack. So maybe that'll stick, maybe it won't. So that's kind of the idea behind it. You can see here there's some mock-ups of the booklets. It's got some kind of vintage Nordic art, as well as the IKEA-like figures. And the whole game is going to essentially have this vibe and feel to it inside. Now that we've gone to full color as part of the stretch goals, I'm really excited because that opens up a whole new realm of opportunity for the layout and the design of it. I'm going to try to keep that vintage kind of vibe to it that I think people have responded to. So stay tuned. I'm excited to do the final layout of this. Who is making this? Well, if you are watching this for the first time, I am Gary Snow. I am the, person that runs Daiku Podcast and Daiku Games. And for the last 3 years or so, I have been interviewing a lot of game designers. I love game design theory, and I've really enjoyed just getting to know people in the industry. I think it's the best hobby in the world. I love role-playing games. It's probably the only thing I've ever really wanted to do. My career's kind of taken weird turns as far as communications, filmmaking, and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, all of it has been in service to making role-playing games. That's the only thing I've ever really wanted to do. So this is kind of my first real kind of role-playing game. And as I'm sure a lot of you out there that like kind of dabble in it, probably I've got like 4 or 5 different games underway all at the same time. You explore different concepts and designs, and it's just the magic of role-playing games. So glad if you're a subscriber. Thank you for being a subscriber and following along. If you haven't subscribed, please do. There's a ton of great game designers. I also have a feature on the channel, as you can see there on the screen, the Game Pitch Gary, which I invite indie game designers to come on and pitch their games. And that's something, I know it's funny. Some people have often gone, well, how much do you charge for that? And I'm like, I don't charge a thing. If I think your game is cool and you fill out the form on my website, I am more than happy to have you on the show for a 15-20 minute pitch, and you prepare a slide deck and you share all the good things about your game. One of the things that I discovered probably early on when I finally went, okay, I'm going to get into game design here in the last 3 or 4 years, is discoverability of your game is like the absolute hardest thing to do. And if I can make that easier for game designers, I hope I can achieve that, as well as, and as I mentioned, I rarely pitch my own stuff on here. So not that I've been making a ton of stuff here, but at the end of the day, I rarely pitch my stuff. So this is kind of out of character for me. I usually share other people's games. And let's see, we got a comment here from Russell. I've never seen a dice pool system, and now I've seen 2 within a week, other than being with Wrath and Glory. So Sandy Peterson, once again, as I mentioned earlier, he made the Ghostbusters D6 system. And in that one, you just counted the dots up. So you could get up to like 20, 25, all kinds of crazy numbers. And that, from that system, anybody that uses dice pools owes it to Sandy a bit of credit. So he was the first one to use it in the Ghostbusters game, and then they went on to use it in the West End D6 Star Wars game, and then other games. So all the other games that have ever used dice pools owe a little bit of credit to Sandy Peterson. Let's see, we got another ask. How IKEA-like will the book be? Will it all be pictures? Can you better explain the Doomstack works with... Okay, I think I answered that one. So, but essentially, it's gonna have that vibe that it's not just all stick figures. It's gonna have like kind of vibes of tunnels and dungeons and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people, one of the videos that reviewed the game, they said, it's kind of like I snuck into my granny's crafting box and I found this and pulled it out. And I really like that. That's kind of, I want this to kind of feel like it's been like a secret game that you were unaware of and that you discovered it like out of the blue. And I have actual plans and of taking the game and just dropping them off in IKEAs and just seeing what happens, and seeing if either the staff or the people that are buying stuff wander across it and just see what happens. I don't know. I just kind of think it might be funny to see. So it's definitely got IKEA vibes to it, but it's not strictly IKEA. It's as you saw in the cover, like it's kind of got some of the it's going to have some niceties to it as far as like just softness to it, and like that Nordic kind of vintage vibe. So with that said, we did go through some stretch goals. The Eye of Kia. Not everybody got the joke, but IKEA, the Eye of Kia starting adventure. That's going to be a digital adventure that's unlocked. So it'll be the same kind of format, but it's only digital, and all backers will receive that. And so that'll get you up and running so that you can just get out of the gate and start playing. Although the book basically is also a random dungeon creator on the fly. So we have the online dice roller as well. So that's going to be something, if you are playing online, that you can share a screen, because in the play testing that we've done, watching other people's dice rolls and the luck rolls, and probably something I probably skipped over here, is with the Doom stack. You can actually risk a Doom dice to go into your roll, but it immediately goes on your Doom stack. So if you are really up against the wall and you need to jump across a pit, for example, and you go, you know what, I don't have any luck dice left to roll after the fail, I'm going to throw in a Doom dice ahead of the roll. And it might be beneficial, it might not. That's part of the fun of seeing it, to see that your Doom dice, even though you put it into the pool, didn't really work. And then you end up putting it on your Doom stack right after the roll. So it might be one of those last gasp efforts that, maybe you use your last die hoping that it doesn't topple over on the Doom stack after you do it. So it's a fun, I think, fun mechanic. And it's like in the game itself, like the Doom stack and the dice and the luck dice, it's really part of the fun. And when I set out to make a system and have it all interconnected, as I hope, as mechanically sound as it is, where everything kind of works in cohesion with each other like a clock, the idea behind that was that players just get it, and it's easy to play and it's easy to run, and the tactile piece of it, it's like probably very easy to convince somebody to run it like a board game, or it's like got board game tendencies, but it's unlocking their imagination. And I know that I think I was watching Between Two Cairns, and I think Brad was telling the story of, or maybe it was Yohai that was telling the story of, they were at a convention and somebody played a tabletop role-playing game for the first time, and then they were like kind of shocked, and they said, I'm imagining everything that's happening. And it was kind of, I think, whoever it was, Brad or Yohai, that basically said like they had never used their imagination before like this. And that's the magic of a role-playing game, is that it allows people to just be kids again and play. And that's my hope when I designed this system and the game itself, of just being able to play. So going back to the unlocks here, we've got now full color. We've passed $10,000 Canadian, and I am very grateful to all the backers that have supported this. It's pretty amazing. I appreciate that. Like I said, I try not to be too promoting on this channel. Like I usually like to highlight other people, but I thought I'd pop on here today and just say, hey, if you haven't heard of it yet, please check it out. The digital rewards will be sent through DriveThruRPG, and that's, I think, most people that would probably be on my channel that might be familiar with you, but if not, it's a free account. You can just get it set up. We've got physical deliveries, so you also get your sticker in that, and we've got some estimates there. I should say that those are estimates, and also governments and taxes being what they are, and import. It's always a mess for international. So I apologize. I'm in Canada, so I know this better than anybody. I've bought games and gone, oh, shoot. Well, anyways, I got the game, so I was happy. So we're doing the Kickstarting here in February. The end of it, Kickstarter doesn't release the funds until a month later, just to make sure everything's on the up and up. And then in June, I will send off the digital files for you. And then I don't know if it's a best practice, but I've seen other game designs do it, that they share it out, and then that's your opportunity to go, hey, that's clunky, or there's a typo or whatever. So I'm going to attempt not to have any of that, but I'll let that settle for like a month and for everybody to check it out. And then in July, we will send the files to the printers. And then by the time we get it back for the printers, we'll lock in the mailing address and collect the shipping costs through BackerKit. And in October, you will receive them. And hopefully that's good timing for the start of the school year, heading into Christmas holidays, that kind of thing. And then you see all my social media links there. And feel free to follow along. I'm not huge on social media. it's a lot of time suckage there, I think. But I tend to want to do more on YouTube. So anyways, as I mentioned, all stretch goals have been unlocked. Happy that people have seen that they like the game, and currently we're up to $11,251 Canadian. And I know it's funny, you get to see how many people are on the back end of things that are watching it but haven't committed. So hopefully this video allows you to kind of learn a little bit more about it, learn about the design philosophies that I took in approaching it, and feel free to come along for the ride. I know this has been a fun little 2 weeks for me, so I appreciate everybody that's been sharing it. And another comment from JP, who has an incredible channel. You should give his channel a sub if you haven't already, because it's got great content on there. So thank you, JP. He does some amazing work, probably in the same vein. I know he's got like a Ghostbusters-esque, I think it's Ghosts and Goons, JP, if you correct me if I'm wrong, that, I think his design philosophy is similar to mine, as far as it's just about having fun at the table and like having a cool environment to play with each other and just be kids again and play make believe and pretend. So I think that's about it. I don't know if there's any more comments elsewhere, but I guess I'll just leave it off by saying, I'll put the links in the description below, and I really appreciate. There we go. JP says Goons and Ghosts at Tunnel Goons Hack. And I mean, some of the elements in here are probably very similar to Tunnel Goons, for those that are familiar with that, where you basically compare the dice rolls, and that's the damage. Mine has some extra nuances based upon that, but very similar. And, that's the beauty of role-playing games, is that there's all these like little nuances and little changes for how people approach mechanics that are customized for the game. So it's, yeah, and JP said D6s are the best, and I couldn't agree more. I love them, and especially when you get like a whole like 5 or 6 rolling, that's like, that's my favorite. To have a bunch of D6s rolling and the sound of it. But anyways, I just wanted to say hello. We've got 4 days left in the Kickstarter. I appreciate if you are backing me already. Thank you very much. If I could extend that request and just share it out there and let people know that you're backing me. That's the only way really indie games can really get discovered, is through word of mouth, and channels somewhat like this, where you are invited on here to share all your good games. So anyways, have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. The Kickstarter ends on Tuesday, and so you have until then. And once again, I appreciate it. I know money's tight everywhere, not naive to that. So when people do support me, I truly, truly do appreciate it. So once again, thanks for your time, and get out there and back indie games. Everybody could use your support, not just me. There's a bunch of other Zine Quest projects out there, and go check them out. So until my next show, I'll talk to you then.